There's plenty of gurus out there selling you on passive income that doesn't require any effort. Well, they're showing you exactly how to have your money just pass you by. Yep, that's a different definition of passive income. It isn't as passive as you've been told or sold, and it's actually costing you a fortune. See, there are ways to create cash flow and recurring revenue and have money come in without you having to do work daily, but how you actually create that, how you get there, well, that's where the biggest mistakes are made. Mistakes that rob wealth and ultimately lead to bitterness. So, regardless of how much money you have or don't have, regardless of where you're starting, you can actually create economic independence and cash flow, but not if you treat it completely passively. We've been lied to and manipulated by people that want to separate us from our money, right? The story goes like this. Just get into this real estate fund or this investment fund, or just put your money into this with a highly intelligent, great manager with this great track record. And they've been doing this for so long, and whatever that story is, and then you're just led to believe you're going to be rich. But if there were something that magical out there, wouldn't we all be rich by now? Wouldn't we all want to own it? There isn't some magic investment, just like there's no magic pill that will do the workout for you if you want to get fit, or get you good rest for you, or eat well for you, or lower your stress permanently and just create the ideal life. That doesn't happen in finance either. We give up our financial freedom to people who make these promises that they just can't keep, that the investment world isn't designed to keep. The reason they're not designed to keep it is, well, they just want to get your money and make money on your money. When they tell you it takes money to make money, it takes your money for them to make money. When they tell you it takes high risk to get high return, it takes you taking risk for them to get a return. So if you believe it requires no effort, that it's that passive and we just hand our money over and then poof, all of a sudden it's going to automatically grow and it'll be fine and it's going to be safe and it'll work out. Unfortunately, that's not how financial freedom works. So let me break it down into 3 simple parts for you. 1, passive income requires active upfront investing. So if you're going to invest, you got to get clear about what you're going to invest in, how it works, how you're going to benefit from it, if it's going to cash flow from day one, how you can mitigate the risk and manage the risk, how you can protect that downside, what types of economies and things might not make it work out. And if that starts to exhaust you when I start saying all those things, I get it. Like, the good news, though, is you don't need to know 85, 90% of what you think you need to know about money. You need to know what money is, how it works, and then I'm going to give you in the second step the way to become a better investor. If you're looking for passive income, what I'm saying is look at a lot of deals up front. Look at deals that make sense based upon who you are and who you know and what deals they can bring you. And don't try to get good at everything, because that's a recipe for disaster. Get good at just one or a few things. And look to make money on the buy. Is there a distressed situation that you can bring capital to, and all of a sudden they're in a better position because you liquidated them? Or is there someone that just doesn't know how to rent something out and you can partner with them, and all of a sudden through that partnership you can bring renters to something they didn't know how to do that, because you understand in real estate maybe it's anything from fractionalized ownership, or you turn it into some type of auction where it's auctioned off and it's seller financing. And if you don't know what those things are, it's important to look at different ways to create strategy. And if you don't know what to do or where to start, I would recommend that you shadow someone, or you create equity in a relationship that you're willing to do work. You're willing to learn from them by offering value. So if you don't have to have any money in order to do that. I was recently on an interview with Clayton Morris, and he talked about he was on this flight and just interviewed someone right before he landed in New Zealand for an hour about real estate. And that started him in becoming a real estate investor. And now he's created enough, income from that real estate that he was able to quit his job, and he's got a really big, following on YouTube talking about all the things that he learned and that he's done. That's one way that you could shadow. I learned from this guy, Stephen Harrop, when I was in college that I worked out with, and he was a money manager before he was a professor that managed $5 billion in municipal bond funds. Like, what can you do to add to someone's life? What can you do to build that relationship? And then you can start asking them questions. This isn't about picking someone's brain. I don't know if anyone wants their brain picked. I don't want my brain picked. I want to build relationships. I want to pay things forward. I just got back from speaking to 50 students in the state of Utah at this thing called Governor's Honors Academy that I went to when I was a teenager, and it changed my life, and now I'm paying that forward. I think there's plenty of people that want to pay it forward, and there's plenty of people that could use a helping hand, or someone that's willing to do certain labor up front in order to be able to get knowledge and learn. So who could you learn from? That's the next question. So meet people, learn from others, and immerse yourself in whatever you're going to be doing around investing, because everyone has hidden capital. And hidden capital comes in two forms. One is mental capital, it's your ideas, knowledge, wisdom, insights, and strategies. So it's what you know, and you want to grow that and invest in that. And then it's your relationship capital, people, networks, organizations, mentors, friends, and family. And so those relationships combined with the right mindset and mental capital is what can lead to more financial capital. You might just be one idea or relationship away from the next level of prosperity. It doesn't take money to make money. It takes value creation. It takes tapping into hidden capital. So the second piece of this is how you become a better investor. How you create more passive income is discovering your investor DNA. And now for it to be passive income, I said it's more active up front, but you want to make sure you're strategic about what you're looking at. So your investor DNA is your values, which are the things that are the scripts of most important in your life, right? It's your competencies, what are your best abilities? It's your drivers, the things that you find yourself wanting to focus on, that you have interest in, that maybe even some passion for. And then you start focusing on your investor DNA. You look at what type of investment speaks to you based upon who you are. And for a lot of people, skipping too quickly to investor DNA is part of the problem. Because some of the best ways to have a better cash flow situation is paying off loans, or restructuring loans, or saving on tax, or finding places where you could just plug financial leaks and keep more of what you make, or manage that cash flow better. But if you can find that money, you can invest it back into yourself and start to discover your investor DNA, increase your financial intelligence, and become a better investor. So how can you become the very best investor? How can you take responsibility for the deals that you're doing versus just handing your money over and hoping that the fund's going to work out, which a lot of those funds underperform, have too much risk, take out a whole bunch of fees, and they neglect cash flow. I'm not here saying that passive income doesn't exist. I'm here to say to create passive income, it requires intelligence. It requires a degree of effort. Over time, it might require building a team. Now, if you want to learn ways to save on tax, to save on interest, to improve your cash flow, to learn your investor DNA, you can check out budgetingsucks.com. It's for sale for a couple bucks. It's not that big of an investment, but it's been a huge investment in my life, years of putting that book together, of giving people a manual for money, because we're born without this manual for money. I thought it would be important to show people how they don't have to cut out everything that they love in life just to have more money in the future, and instead they can start creating more automation and become better investors and find cash that's rightfully theirs and put it back in their pocket, and for a couple more bucks you can even get that on an audiobook. All right, so let's get to point number 3. Here's something that might fly in the face of what you've been told or what you even told other people your whole life. The third piece to create more passive income and to overcome the notion of just handing your money over and losing it is to learn how to focus rather than diversify. Diversification is really something that when someone becomes economically independent, they can use. Economic independence is having assets create enough cash flow to cover your basic expenses. When you get to that point and you're going, well, I have more cash to invest, you might start investing in something else, but not if it's not aligned with your investor DNA. You might invest into another asset class because now you've got time to invest more knowledge and invest more time and build the type of team there. So look, when people are crazy rich, they've got to diversify because they've got more money than maybe one category is really going to be serving them best. And it's a great way to preserve wealth, but it's not a good way to grow wealth. So important if you're going to focus instead of diversify, because diversification becomes diversification, is you build your foundation. When you're on the proper foundation, when you've set up the right safety and security through having enough cash on hand, having insurances and asset protection and corporate structures so that you own nothing but still control everything, and then when you start looking at ways you can protect the downside of your investments, and then you continue to increase your education so you know what you're getting into and what risks you face, and then you invest only in things that you know, and even be willing to sit on the sidelines and sit in cash until it's the right time to go and invest, and when it's the right time to buy because now you can make money on the buy, well, that's when you can actually focus. When you're willing to have those things handled, you focus instead of diversify. Diversification, you know what it's like? It's people that just don't want to pay attention to their finances. They don't want to take responsibility. They're like, yeah, I'm just going to hand this over and I hope it works out. Well, if that's the case, you're taking far too much risk. You're probably going to be disappointed. And once again, money's just going to pass you by. So taking an active role in this critical part of your life, where, because we don't have a money manual, well, you can get one at budgetingsucks.com, but if you don't learn about it, you won't keep as much of the money that you deserve. It takes a little bit of effort up front, and it will pay off for years to come. Now you have the knowledge to transform your thoughts into profits and build the life you love. If you're looking for more on this topic, we've got plenty of other videos to help you dive deep on investor DNA. Click here.